Excuse me, COVID.
You better not. I don't want it again.
I was about to start then.
Colin had a problem and a microphone to spare. Thomas took it up and so the podcast went to air. For weeks and months they trolled through every single DVD. They've unwrapped all the ones they can and now they're cellulose free. Now they're cellulose free.
Hello dear listener and welcome to Cellulose Free. My name is Colin and with me as always is my fellow film watcher, compadre and son, Thomas.
Hi, hello.
What have you been up to?
I have been plotting how to defend my honour, because in the description of last week's episode, you said that I confused Bale and Bane, and I do not think that I did confuse Bale and Bane.
Oh, right. Did you listen to the episode? Did you listen to the recording?
No.
Well, that would very quickly clarify that.
If I said Bane, that was a slip of the tongue. I did not say Bane.
I said, I'm Batman.
Yes, while we were talking about Matthew McConaughey, who does not play Batman, that's Christian Bale.
Oh, well, if that was the case, because that whole segment was extremely confusing. I mean, what's new? But extremely confusing. But if you were referring to Matthew McConaughey, fine actor as he is, did certainly not play Batman. And so, indeed, Bale did play Batman, yes, but I don't know where this is going. All I can give you is my unreserved apologies and ask for your forgiveness. And you can change all of the places where the description has occurred. But I mean, it's a bit like ripping up a sheet of paper and throwing it into the sky, especially if you'd done it in the past week here in Tasmania. There's no getting that back, Thomas. All I can do is just give you my heartfelt apologies. And my liver-felt apologies.
Right.
You know, upping the ante here.
Right.
My left kidney apologies, which does have an abnormal number of arteries going into it.
See, you adding all these additional organs makes me question the sincerity of this apology.
Look, my liver bleeds custard for you. That's how sorry I am for the hurt and umbrage that I've caused you. Will you ever forgive me?
We'll see.
Okay. He's taking off his glove and is about to strike me on the cheek with it. Ow! Ow, right. It's toothpicks at dawn.
Meanwhile, the Paralympics have started. The opening ceremony was overlong, and that's basically all I can really say to describe it. I mean, obviously the parade of athletes is going to take a while, because it always does.
Yeah.
And what you're going to do, they're walking, or rolling,
or
as the case may be. But I think I have seen less Paralympics than I have intended to, which is a shame, but that's just how it is, I suppose.
I confess I have not seen any Paralympics. That being said, I didn't see a lot of the...
No.
What do you call it?
The Olympics.
The Olympics. Okay. I'm trying to be politically correct here and not... Look, I was even avoiding wheelchairs, but you went there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now I know what's going to be in the description for this episode. Thomas went there. Yeah.
So that's no on forgiveness then.
So what you have been up to is not watching as much Paralympics as you thought you would.
And not a whole lot else besides that bears bringing up here.
Right.
We have recently found out that the Northern Territory election is even worse for Labour than it was when we made assumptions like a week and a half ago.
Uh-huh.
Because Natasha Files was looking to be all right, former First Minister and fairly prominent in the Northern Territory Labour Party. No, it's looking like she's been gazumped by the Greens, just barely.
Wow.
Yeah, so Labour will have no seats in Darwin or Palmerston.
Wow. Wow, that's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't entirely understand the politics of the Northern Territory, which is a territory rather than a state, and therefore runs things a little differently. Oh, look, I did not mute my phone.
No,
I was
you
not
didn't.
saying anything important there anyway.
No. And that's really all that's going on with me and things that I'm interested in.
Okay.
What about you?
What about me? I must confess that I was reluctant to actually record today.
Right.
I've really got stuck into Homestuck, and I am just absolutely captivated by its brilliance, and therefore, I must admit, finding it very hard to pull myself away from it and I'm keep getting... sorry, I keep getting distracted by it. So I shall just turn off my phone again.
Enjoying the adventures of John Egbert milling about his house.
Indeed. Don't spoil it for me. I'm only up to page 8, I think. Other than that, very little walking done. As I alluded to earlier, it has been very blusterous in the state of Tasmania, and rainy, heavy rains, and major floodings, and trees being blown over, large swathes of the state without power. And so I have been very much hermited, which has been hard. I did go for a walk yesterday and it was wonderful. The major river that runs through the middle of the Greater Hobart area, it was very brown and murky, which is more so than usual. Sorry, I say that, but it's where I do a lot of my swimming, so I wouldn't be swimming in it right now. It's all sorts of muck and gunk that has travelled the hundreds or so kilometres length of the river. So, stayed very much indoors for a lot of it and just mulling around and watching cat videos. No, just doing... I did, however, I bit the bullet last week and ordered a number of smoke alarms to replace the two solitary ones that were in the house. And now there is actually one in every bedroom and in the hallway. I put them all up today.
And so now every fire in this house will be a 5-alarm fire.
That's right, a 5-alarm fire, because I wasn't aware that they'd done this clever thing. Firstly, they're 10-year battery life sealed units, so it's not a case of having to change the battery every year. These are designed to last for at least 10 years. And they are radio linked to each other. So if you have an alarm go off in one room, it'll set all of the other alarms off so that everyone is aware of the fact that there may be reason to vacate the premises. So that caused some consternation when I finally had them all up and installed and had to make sure that they were all functioning.
Yeah.
Which is easy enough to do because of the fact they're linked. There is a little remote that has a test button. You press that and they all go off. And it was quite loud, and everyone, including the deranged cat, became a little more deranged. So that was my excitement for the day, climbing up and down, drilling holes in the ceiling and installing these things. So I hope we all feel a little safer. I say that, but within an hour of having them all plugged in, the stovetop was turned on and there was a little bit of cooking oil from previous use that caused somewhat of not a fire, but the hot plate smoked a little, and everyone was anxiously awaiting the alarm to go off in the hallway, but it didn't, fortunately.
And then they closed the kitchen door.
Ah, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Right, because I could smell it. I was in the bedroom just waiting and smelling.
I will be interested to hear how far you get through Homestuck, especially on a phone, which could be interesting for some parts of it.
Right.
And also, it is very, very wordy in places.
Yes. I've got some gist of what I may be up against. However, it very much feels like the adventure games that I grew up with. My generation's adventure games. So
that is the feeling that Hussey's works were going for at the time. Yeah. Yes.
I'm certainly not imagining that. It's definitely there.
And at the moment, you are currently in the part of the comic where those commands did come from actual other people.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering where this was going. I was getting all ready to give this guy a name at the beginning, and that joy was taken away from me. But such is life.
Yes, later on, the story gets more complicated, and Hussey decides, you know what? No, I don't need any more commands. And also, the fanbase has grown to a point where I could just pick any command that I want and get the result I want, so I'm just going to ignore them from now on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, let's watch a film.
Yeah, let's watch a film.
Now, what did I suggest that it was called this week?
I can't remember because it was so far from plausible that I put it out of my mind immediately.
Hubris of the Planet of the Apes? The vented spleen of the Planet of the Apes.
We are watching the 1972 film Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Please tell our dear listener, put them out of their misery as they anxiously await a description of what is bound to be an absolutely enthralling and thrilling climax to this 4-part movie series.
Oh dear.
What? You've just read it and it's...
No.
It's disappointing?
I regret to inform you.
What?
We won't be done here after this.
What do you mean? We're going to watch the animated series.
No, there's another film afterwards, and then there's another film that's semi-related. Anyway, the description.
The head banging against the wall of the Planet of the Apes.
In the near future of 1972, domesticated apes have replaced pets and personal servants, until their continual mistreatment provokes one advanced simian to launch a daring revolt that may change the roles of humans and apes forever.
Is his name Caesar? I guess we're about to find out.
Yep.
Because that's what we're watching. We're going to stream it on Digny Plus.
Digny Plug.
Digny Plug. We could get it off the shelf. It is on DVD on the shelf, but we're going to watch it on Digny Plug. Why are we calling it Digny Plug?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's what we're going to do. And then once we've done so, we're going to come back and we're going to try and talk about it without our eyes glazing over. But until then, we'll catch you next time.
No!
What?
It can't end there.
Yes, it can, you mongrel.
I have this habit of making an deliberate mispronunciation for comedic effect.
We need a laugh track. Right, so we'll catch you on the flip side.
Turn to side B.
Mongrel again. So what did you think?
We have sunk back into the depths of spending way too long getting where we're going.
And doing that with a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
And more talking and repetition of scenes.
Yes. I don't know how many times we need to see the apes overwhelming the riot police, but 4 or 5 is not it.
Okay, so we have a budget cut again.
Uh-huh.
Like the previous movie was either 2 or 2.5 million. and this was 1.6 million was the budget for this. So quite a bit of a drop, even compared to the last movie's standards. And it still made stonking amounts of money.
Yeah.
So 1.7 million was the budget, and it made 9.7. So it's still pulling them in with not a lot happening apart from a very drawn out, let's keep showing people being bashed and monkeys pulling and pushing and shaky cam and gee. All throughout the movie I was thinking, oh, I'm glad somebody invented the steady cam. Mm-hmm. Because not just in the fight scenes, but there were some really shonky dolly shots and tracking shots, and it just...
Well, nowadays there are film directors and cinematographers who have the option of a steady cam.
Oh, yeah.
Still go back to the well of incomprehensible shaky footage.
It really was... I think they used the join the dots analogy in maybe the last one. I can't remember. But there were 2 dots here. It was man rules and has monkeys as slaves. And second dot is monkeys flip the situation.
Yeah.
And the bits that were in between were... Well, I mean, there really wasn't. Sorry, there was this sort of montage-y type thing going on that really didn't have an initial introduction of it was suddenly into Caesar is thick into building up resistance, not an initial stage and it growing. It was just as if it was suddenly there.
He looks at another ape, and they are on his side. That's the process. And this also happens several times more than it probably needs to. Just Roddy McDowall in his ape mask looking vaguely angry off in the distance, and an ape turns to look, and it's like, oh, right. Yes.
Mind you, they already had form in this film for using very much shorthand going on. Ricardo Montalban's character does a 2-sentence recap for why they're in this situation. The exposition, it almost felt like he was reading it off a piece of paper just to remind the audience, this has what happened in the last movie in 2 sentences. Caesar, this is why you are in this circumstance, and your parents are dead.
Did you notice the point at the end of the film where they suddenly decided they needed to not beat Breck to death?
Yes, and I'm trying to work out, because I believe that there are 2 different endings. And that was the gentler ending?
Yes, that was the gentler ending.
Yes.
The one where they didn't think about it until they were in the edit, and so had to record voiceover and crop in really tight on Caesar's eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to have to dig out the DVD, because I believe that the original version was released on DVD, so I don't know what version I've got on DVD. So I believe he gets his comeuppance somewhat more in the original cut, and then... They found in test screenings people were walking out because it was just too much. I can imagine even the version that we were watching, it just... We know where it's heading.
Yeah.
So I guess we've got that against us.
Yeah.
Whereas the original audience really didn't know, other than the fact that they did, didn't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even the bad guys knew that's where they were heading. And they did everything within their power to make sure that happened. What about cats, Thomas? What happened to the cats?
They died.
Did the cats die?
Yes.
I know the dogs did, but I didn't...
Yeah.
Was there a cat?
Yes, there
cat
was a cat
statue?
statue there next to the dog statue.
All right. But the dog got a name and the cat didn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I reckon the cat's actually left. They're gone bush. That's what cats do if they're treated bad. They just
They jumped out of the ocean and disappeared.
And said so long and thanks for all the fish.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was Underpants of the Planet of the Apes. No? Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. It was rough.
Yeah.
And the acting was hammy and...
And I am led to believe, 2 weeks from now, it does not get better.
Yeah, and I do confess, spoilers, it still made money.
Well, yes. And I believe that probably the only reason they stopped is that Arthur P. Jacobs died after the last one.
Yeah. Thomas, I don't know what to say.
Yeah?
It was just a bit of a mess fest.
Mm-hmm.
I think... Oh, look, I don't know. If I was to pick between this one and Beneath the Planet of the Apes, that's hard. At least Beneath the Planet of the Apes didn't feel like it was confined to one city block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's generous.
Mm-hmm.
The budget was well and truly showing in this. Still had plenty of costumes from the... They had plenty of costumes from the last movies that they made, but probably not the same actors wearing those stuffy, sweaty masks. I hope they were cleaned well.
Did reasonably well costuming the humans to present a totalitarian.
That's not hard though, Thomas.
No.
It's really not. Those costumes were already in the wardrobes, I think. Anyway, I've got nothing else to say about this film. Do you have anything else to say about this film?
No.
All right. I think it would be safe to say we should and shall move on then.
The following segment has no title. Thank you. And we will start over on Facebook with Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Who, on our episode on Escape from the Planet of the Apes, literal minutes after we finished recording Reign of Fire... I'm too late.
Yep, you were too late.
I've been going to comment for 4 days and hadn't got round to it. My guess was going to be escapes. That's escapes with 2 P's. Which I can explain. I thought escapes was quite clever, but then realised it was only 7 letters long, and I was sure you would go for 8, and since planet was missing, it was going to need an extra P, and that seemed like the best place for it. Fortunately, I got 2 points last week.
You say that, and yet due to your tardiness with this message, we do have to
No, we don't.
take away
No, we don't.
3 arbitrary points.
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay then. Thomas is far more generous than I am.
I'm far less silly than he is.
All right, yes.
In any event...
Fortunately, you did get 2 points last week.
In any event, your late guess was also wrong.
Indeed.
So, on Daryl, sometime earlier... So I finally got to listen to this today. You mentioned the wind, which actually made me think I wasn't so far behind. But no, we just have major wind events 3 months apart.
It's when we have beans for tea. We only have beans for tea every 3 months.
And finally, from Helen, on last week's episode on Reign of Fire, well, I, for one, welcome our new sheep overlords. Based on your description, I can only conclude that the dragon egg was in fact a curate's dragon egg, being good in parts.
Yes.
And that is for the guesses, so we will continue down to Discord, where we find Entuosferatu.
Hi, Entuosferatu.
And E of Pi.
Hello, E of Pi.
Entuosferatu says, I'm excited/terrified to watch Thomas continue with his ape-based shenanigans.
I am both mortified and terrified and filled with dread to watch Thomas continue with his ape-based shenanigans. And
then E of Pi and Entuosferatu have created 2 halves of a Ring of Fire parody. I fell into a burning rain of fire. I went down, 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 and the king rose higher. And it burns, burns, burns. Off screen due to budget restrictions.
Yes, that was special.
Yeah. EFP says somehow this is probably Game of Thrones or Homestuck.
Homestuck? Huh. I know that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And according to J Random Hacker, who I don't know if listens to this, but did respond.
Hang on. Hi, J Random Hacker, if you're listening.
It is the nature of humanity to occasionally reinvent Homestuck. As with many other things.
Yes.
And while I was looking into Reign of Fire last week, looking around, I found out that they made a video game for Reign of Fire, as video game companies were wont to do in the early to mid-2000s. And the game let you play as one of the dragons, and you could defeat humanity.
Wow. I want to play that game. Is it available on, what is it, GOG?
Maybe. No.
He's just looking that up for us right now.
Well, it didn't get a PC release, so I suspect not.
Oh, what was it on?
It was on Game Boy Advance, Xbox, GameCube, and PlayStation 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I suspect that the Game Boy Advance version was somewhat different.
Yes.
To the other versions.
Yes, I would expect so.
Yeah.
Yes. Obviously developed by a different studio, but both published by BAM Entertainment.
BAM. Good.
That's BAM in all caps with an exclamation mark. Except it's all lowercase with an exclamation mark on the box art.
All right. So, sorry, which version of Xbox? Just
the Xbox.
Yes. There's a slim, but almost non-existent, completely non-existent possibility that you can still play it on an Xbox. I don't know.
Yeah. Which will, with the addition of a message from M.
Hi, M.
Over on Twitter, bring us up to the guesses.
It will.
And we have 2 unique guesses split amongst 3 respondents.
Ah, how does that work?
Well, two of them have one of the guesses.
Ah, what if one of them actually had a half guess of each? No, that doesn't work. No, that's a bit stupid, that is.
That would be silly.
Yes. Okay, I admit that I was silly there. Okay.
Yeah. Helen goes with, provides a lengthy explanation for how she gets to hers. As for the millions of monkeys...
Hey, we saw millions of monkeys tonight.
We certainly saw tens of monkeys, yes.
Yeah.
All I ask of them is, not the works of Shakespeare, but an 8-letter file name for this week's episode. Since they didn't deliver, this semi-evolved simian will have to make up her own. Rain fur, as in the tree, the fur. So REIGNFIR. I suspect the monkeys might have done better.
The monkeys might have done better, and I do have another confession to make. Of all the movies that we have watched in Thomas's selections of late, there haven't been any monkeys.
No. And there's been some damn dirty apes.
There has. Some cheeky chimpanzees. Some orangutans. How do you pronounce that?
Orangutan?
Now look at how it's spelt.
Orangutan?
Then how did you pronounce it?
Orangutan?
You put a G, didn't you?
Yeah,
at
I
the
did.
End. Everyone puts a G, including myself, I admit. But there is no G at the end. That's weird. Okay, but no monkeys.
Such is the nature of language.
Yeah.
N2Osferatu and M both go with Rugen O Fire.
Oh,
RGNOFIRE.
which means that they're more likely, because 2 of them guessed that, to have it correct.
They are certainly closer.
They are closer, but no cigar or fire to light the cigar.
No. Riggin is right, and there is definitely an O, but there's 2 Fs instead of an FI.
So I went for a Regan of Frr.
Frey?
Frey. Yeah. Don't
RGNOFFRE.
don't overthink this. It's the way it is. That's how I come up with the file names. I just don't overthink it.
And so there shall be no arbitrary points awarded.
No arbitrary points, and I don't know about any arbitrary points for next week either.
Oh, yeah?
I'm showing Thomas what file name I went for.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Are they going to get it?
Well, maybe.
Stranger things have happened. There are some letters in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they are in the title of the film.
Yeah, and they're all unique. There, I've given you heaps of help.
Yes, every single letter in there is a different letter.
They're all identically different except for the other one. All right.
But there is no other one.
No.
Because they're all unique.
Yes. So we encourage you, please make a guess as to the file name and...
Send in any other comments.
Yeah.
Or film suggestions.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. And to do so, the links are in the show notes and mentioned in the blurb that Thomas so expertly reads each time at the end of our episode.
Yeah. Somehow completely indistinguishable from episode to episode.
You've got it so perfectly memorised.
Yeah.
All right.
What was I about to say?
I don't know.
I was about to say something and then you said something and now I've forgotten.
I never know what I'm about to say. How would I know what you're about to say?
No, it's gone now.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And it was a good one too.
Oh, probably.
Oh, well. All right. Well, if I say, then we shall move on now, then you will remember it as the piece of music is playing. So, we'll move on now.
Pick a film for next week so we can go to bed.
No, it's not worked, but it is your turn.
It is my turn. Now, Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
I may have made some mistakes there. I may not have.
Right.
But I figure that to do Matthew McConaughey justice, let's bring him in for another round.
Okay.
And we're going to give him the opportunity for a little more science fiction.
Okay.
If one classes Reign of Fire as science fiction.
Science fantasy.
Science fantasy. Okay, well, this is more science fiction. And we're going to put him on the same billing as Jodie Foster.
Right.
Okay, buzz in when you think you know the answer as to what movie we're going to watch. It is based on a book written by a famous scientist, astronomer, astrophysicist type of television dude, much like your modern day, what's his name, Tyson?
Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yeah. In fact, both of them hosted a show called Cosmos. So the book was written by Carl Sagan.
Okay.
And the film is a single word name.
Is it Contact?
It might be Contact. Well done. See, I didn't even need to read a plot synopsis, which now makes me think I'm still going to need to read a plot synopsis, and I do not have one in front of me. So I'm just bringing that up for you right now.
Yeah. Not big on Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neither am I. No. I much prefer Carl Sagan's presentation of Cosmos.
He has this overwhelming need, I feel, to chime in on scientific areas that he doesn't necessarily have the strongest grasp on.
Yeah, like Pluto being a planet.
And he does so...
Thanks, Neil.
He does so in such a way that is sort of smug and smarmy.
Supercilious, I think, is the word you're looking for there, Thomas? Or maybe not.
I'll go with smug and smarmy.
Anyway, now that we've talked down Neil, let's talk up this movie that we're going to be watching next week. You have not seen Contact, I don't think. Have you?
I can't remember having seen it.
Right. It's a bit of a lengthy one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 2 hours 24. Okay, I'm going to read the plot synopsis. Buzz in when you guess what it is.
It's Contact.
Wow, how did you get that? The exciting adventure of the day we make contact with life beyond Earth comes to the screen with a profound sense of wonder and a dazzling visual sweep that extends to the outer reaches of space and imagination. And imagination. Why, that was a long sentence. Jodie Foster is astronomer Ellie Arroway, a woman of science. Matthew McConaughey is religious scholar Palmer Joss. Matthew McConaughey is religious scholar Palmer Joss, a man of faith. They're opposite ends of a spectrum, and sudden players on the world's stage as the countdown to humanity's greatest journey begins. Powerfully, thrillingly, and emotionally, Contact connects. That whole thing was really poorly written. Punctuation was all over the place and made it very difficult to read. Well, more difficult than I usually have, even more difficult than I. That's what we're watching next week, Contact. Yep. We hope that you can join us, but until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
You have been listening to Cellulose Free. Your hosts were Colin, who produces and edits the show, and Thomas, who makes the artwork and music. Cellulose Free is recorded in the Deranged Cat Studios in scenic Tasmania, Australia. We keep track of our extensive physical media collection through My Movies, which we highly recommend. You can find links to that, as well as other places you can find us, in the show notes. Cellulose Free is a Hi Hello production.
When you're the sort of person who will willingly sign up to contribute sins to a Cinema Sins video, it's like, what are we doing here, really?
Oh, what, you mean when a movie botches the science? Right.
Or just bends the science a little. Like, they got Neil deGrasse Tyson on for the episode on Interstellar.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, obviously they're going to make some stuff up, aren't they?
Well, of course they are.
I don't...
And especially when you're considering that that particular film especially is dealing with concepts that no one fully grasps. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop recording.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go watch more paracycling.
Good.
Yeah.
Was that paracycling or
Yes.
Paris cycling?
Paracycling in Paris.
Wow. Cool. Right on.
It's very important that shooting, right? That's a sport. And it is very important that they call it, in the Paralympics, shooting parasport, and not parachuting.
Is there sailing?
No, I don't think there is sailing.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no parasailing then?
No.
I am stopping now.
Yes.
Good.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
In the near future of 1972, domesticated apes have replaced pets and personal servants?
Turbans? Turquoise? Turbidity?
I'm going to take that again, I think.
It's like the water in the Derwent. Very turbid.